In the year 476 AD, the Western Roman Empire collapsed. Rome was sacked, its last emperor deposed, its legions broken, its laws ignored. Historians later said Rome had fallen, but they were wrong. For on the glittering shores of the Bosporus, in a city of marble rising between two continents, the empire lived on, transformed, reborn, defiant. Its people never called themselves Byzantines. They called themselves Romans, Romioi, heirs to Caesar and Constantine. For more than 1,100 years, this empire would stand as the shield of Europe, the lighthouse of orthodoxy, the crossroads of civilizations, and the keeper of Rome's legacy. This is the story of the Byzantine Empire, a tale of emperors and empresses, monks and mercenaries, traitors and heroes. A world of blinding splendor and brutal intrigue. A realm that rose from the ashes again and again, until its final day in 1453, when the last Constantine died defending the same walls his great namesake built. Our story begins with one man who changed the world, Constantine I. In 324 AD, he defeated his last rival and became sole ruler of the Roman Empire. 2 years later, he founded a new capital, Constantinople, the city of Constantine, built on 7 hills like old Rome, guarded by the Golden Horn, protected by mighty walls, blessed, as he believed, by the Christian God who had granted him victory at the Milvian Bridge. Constantine never knew it, but he had created a city that would outlive his empire in the West, outlast all medieval kingdoms, and become one of the greatest capitals in human history. Nearly 200 years after Constantine's death, a soldier from a poor Balkan family rose to the throne. Justinian I, the emperor who dreamed of reuniting Rome. His reign was nothing short of legendary. The Nika riots. In 532, factions in the Hippodrome rose in rebellion, chanting Nika, conquer. Justinian prepared to flee, but his wife, the brilliant and fearless Empress Theodora, refused. She said, "Purple makes a fine burial shroud." Justinian stayed. What followed was slaughter. Generals Belisarius and Mudus crushed the revolt, killing 30,000 people in a single day. The city burned, but from its ashes, Justinian created wonders. Hagia Sophia in just 5 years, the greatest church in Christendom rose. Hagia Sophia, the holy wisdom. Its dome seemed to float on air, shimmering with gold. Awestruck, Justinian whispered, "Solomon, I have surpassed thee." The wars of reconquest. Justinian sent his general Belisarius to reclaim the lost West. North Africa fell. Much of Italy returned to imperial hands. Rome, briefly, was Roman again. The plague of 542. Then came disaster. The first pandemic of bubonic plague swept the empire, killing perhaps 25 million people, half the population. Justinian survived, but his dream of restoring Rome to its ancient borders faded. Yet his legacy endured through law, the corpus juris civilis, the bedrock of modern European legal systems. By the 7th century, the empire stood on the brink of annihilation. Enter Heraclius, a young commander from Carthage, who overthrew the tyrant Phocas and inherited an empire in ruins. The Persians had seized Syria, Egypt, Jerusalem, even the true cross itself. The Persian War, from 622 to 628. Heraclius led one of history's greatest counter-offensives. He marched into the heart of Persia, defeated King Khosrow II, and restored the true cross to Jerusalem, a hero, a savior. But fate was cruel. The rise of Islam Arab armies, united by the new faith of Islam, swept across the Middle East. Syria fell in 636 at the Battle of Yarmouk. Egypt followed. The empire lost its richest provinces forever. Heraclius died in 641, exhausted, defeated, broken. But Byzantium endured. The empire reinvented itself, again. Out of necessity came innovation. The Byzantines created the theme system, reorganizing the empire into military provinces led by generals. Farmers became soldier farmers, ready to defend their land at any moment. The empire shrank, but hardened. It became a fist of iron. Greek fire, one invention, saved Constantinople itself. Greek fire, a liquid flame that burned on water. Its recipe was a state secret, so well kept that it is lost to this day. Using it, the Byzantines repelled Arab sieges in 674 to 678 and 717 to 718, saving Europe from conquest. Then came a war not of armies, but of images. Iconoclast emperors, beginning with Leo III, condemned religious icons as idolatry. Monasteries resisted fiercely, books were burned, monks were tortured, families divided. It lasted more than a century. In 843, Empress Theodora restored the icons, ending the conflict in what the Orthodox Church still celebrates as the triumph of orthodoxy. With the rise of Basil I, the empire entered a renaissance. This was the age of scholars, warriors, and emperors of immense ambition. Basil II, the Bulgar slayer, the most feared of all, was Basil II, who ruled for nearly 50 years. A soldier emperor of incredible discipline, he crushed rebellions, broke the power of the aristocracy, and waged a lifelong war against Bulgaria. In 1014, at the Battle of Cledion, he defeated Tsar Samuel and, according to chroniclers, blinded 99 out of every 100 Bulgarian prisoners. Basil died in 1025, having led the empire to its greatest territorial expansion in 400 years. After Basil II's death, the empire weakened. In 1071, the Byzantine army met the Seljuk Turks at Manzikert. Emperor Romanos IV Diogenes fought bravely, but betrayal sealed his fate. The army collapsed, the emperor was captured. Manzikert opened the gates of Anatolia, the empire's heartland, to Turkish conquest. This catastrophe triggered civil war, coups, and chaos that nearly destroyed Byzantium forever. Enter the Komnenoi, Alexios I Komnenos. A brilliant general, Alexios stabilized the empire, fought off Normans, Pechenegs, and Seljuks, and, in desperation, appealed to the west. This appeal sparked the First Crusade. The Crusaders retook much of Anatolia, but relations between East and West soured. John II and Manuel I under Alexios' son John II and grandson Manuel I, Byzantium experienced a final blaze of glory. Wealth, diplomacy, and military power returned, but all golden ages end. The Fourth Crusade, called to fight Muslims, turned against its Christian brothers. In 1204, Crusaders stormed Constantinople in one of the most brutal sackings in medieval history. Churches looted, monasteries raped, relics stolen, art destroyed. An empire that had stood for 900 years was torn apart. For 57 years, Constantinople was ruled by Latin emperors, while Byzantine successors clung to life in exile. In 1261, Michael VIII Palaiologos reclaimed the city, but the empire he restored was a ghost of its former self. The walls still stood, the churches still shone, but the treasury was empty, the army small, the borders shrinking. Slowly, the rising Ottoman Turks surrounded Constantinople. Constantine XI, the last emperor, in 1449, Constantine XI Palaiologos, became the final emperor. He knew his reign would be the empire's last stand. The fall, May 29, 1453, Sultan Mehmed II launched the final assaults with massive cannons, elite janissaries, and tens of thousands of soldiers. For 53 days, the city resisted. On the final morning, Constantine addressed his men. "The city is entrusted to us. Let us defend it with our lives." He fought on the walls until he was surrounded and killed. His body never definitely found. With his death, the Roman Empire, born with Augustus, reborn with Constantine, ended after 2,200 years of history. And yet, Byzantium lives on, in the Orthodox Church, in Roman law, in medieval art, in the domes of Istanbul, Moscow, and the Balkans, in the very idea of empire itself. The Byzantines believed their empire would last until the end of time, and perhaps, in a way, it has. A 1,000-year epic of brilliance and betrayal, faith and fire, ambition and endurance, the story of a civilization that refused to die.